27th of June, Rabbi Moore, Parsha Hashavua with Rashi, Chukat. Hello, Rabbi Moore. Can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear.
Great.
I had an interesting shaila. You know, they always ask you, accept cookies, reject cookies, So I'm looking to lose a little bit of weight. Do you think every time I press reject cookies, it will help?
It may make you wait longer when you want to access your website.
Okay. Anyway, let's go.
Yeah, they have a colorful language. Those computer program guys, they have a colorful language.
You got to know the lingo, otherwise you just you have no idea what they're talking about.
Absolutely.
Right. Okay. We were up to Pasuk Dalet. Who was reading? I think it was your turn. Lou.
Oh, okay.
Actually, up to Pasuk.
The kacha. Elazar hakohen mi dama be'etz ba'o v'hizah el nochach Hinei ohel moed midama sheva ka'amim.
Okay.
So it means Elazar the Kohen shall take from the blood, from
its
the
blood,
from its blood,
from its blood,
with his finger and sprinkle some of the blood, some of its blood to the front of the tent of meeting 7 times.
Yeah, it says El Noichach means.
Yeah, that would give me a little trouble.
Right, so actually means there, it means towards the let's see it, 1 second. I think I say towards. Yeah, directly towards. That's how I translate. Directly towards the front of the tent of meeting.
Right.
So Rashi explains this.
El nochach pnei ohel moed, directly towards the front of the tent of meeting. Omeid b'mizracho shel Yerushalayim. He stands to the east of Jerusalem. Umis kavein, and his intention v'ro'eh.
Miskaveh means he focuses.
And he focuses and he looks at the opening of the sanctuary.
When he's
as hedam, at the time of the sprinkling of the blood.
Yeah, means so he tries to, when he sprinkles the blood, he tries to sprinkle it in the direction of directly facing the door of the oil moed, which is basically, I mean, this was then in the desert. But later on, it was in the Beis Hamikdash. As I mentioned yesterday, he would stand on Har HaZeisim, and he would face. That's what he says. He stands on the east side of Yerushalayim, right? He would stand on Har HaZeisim and sprinkle towards the entrance of the Heichal, of the sanctuary. And Chazal say that the Beis Hamikdash, or the Har HaBayis more precisely, was built in such a way that he could actually, from outside, looking from Har HaZeisim, he could see inside into the Heichal, into the sanctuary. And the Gemara makes a whole cheshbon because the actual height, or should we say the floor of the Heichal, floor of the sanctuary, was actually 22 amas higher than the floor of the Har HaBayis. Now, 22 amas is an elevation of about somewhere in the region of 10 and a half, between 10 and a half and 12 meters.
Wow.
Or 13 meters in. So it's quite a major difference. So basically, the Gemara says that all the way around the Har HaBayis, there was a very high wall, which was about 30 amas high, from 25 and 30 amas high, somewhere around there. But at the point on the eastern side of the Har HaBayis, at the point which was where the gateway was made lower, and also the wall was lower, that the height of the wall was no higher than 20 amas, that in order that they could see over the level of the wall into the floor of the sanctuary of the Heichal. This way, the Kohen could see from Har HaZeisim, could see into the Heichal. Because otherwise, if the wall there on the eastern side was the same height as all the way around, the wall would have blocked the Kohen's view of the Heichal. They wouldn't be able to look into the Heichal. Okay? Yeah. Okay, now, Meir, Pasuk. Hey, by the way, there's one important point which I forgot to mention yesterday. We did discuss it a little bit, but there's an important point which I forgot to mention. You asked about what the reason is behind it. The most mitzvahs have a reason behind them, whereas the Parah Aduma doesn't have a reason. I forgot to mention then, I said, the reason given for the mitzvahs is called tam.
We lost your picture. Oh, there you are.
Yeah. You've been hearing me the whole time?
No, last word I heard was Tom.
Yeah, okay, so that was this. Tam means the taste. Okay? Which now, if you have, let's say you have a piece of meat. Now, a taste of the meat is not really, it gives you a flavor of it, but it's not the essence of the meat itself. It's the taste. So therefore, in Hebrew, there's two words to describe a reason for something. There's the tam, and there's also the sibo, which is actually the cause of it. So when we refer to the mitzvahs, we're only referring to ta'amei ha-mitzvahs, the taste of the mitzvahs, which means it gives you some idea what's behind the mitzvah, but that is not the be-all and end-all. There's more behind it. And Mamela, that's why, even if we know the time of the mitzvah, it gives us an impetus and encouragement to do the mitzvah if we know what we're doing. But that doesn't mean that's not the be-all and end-all. So therefore, even if the reason for the mitzvah may not necessarily be applicable in a particular case, that doesn't necessarily mean a person does not have to do the mitzvah. It all depends on the Chazal, it depends on different things. Actually, there's a machlokes Tanoim that it says Reb Shimon was always dorish time at the krah. He always explained the reason behind the pasuk, which basically means, doesn't mean everybody try to explain the reason behind the pasuk. But Reb Shimon was of the opinion that if the reason for the mitzvah doesn't apply, then the mitzvah is not applicable. If the reason doesn't apply, but then the Chachamim machlok on that even if the reason does not apply, the mitzvah is still incumbent upon us. Okay, well, basically, I'm not the thing, but that's why actually the Orach Chaim HaKadosh says the pasuk here doesn't say Zos Chukas Hapara, it should say Zos Chukas Hapara Aduma. It just says Zos Chukas HaTorah. This is the statute of the Torah, and that indicates to us that the entire Torah really should be looked upon in those terms. That every single mitzvah we should really look upon it as if we do not really know the deeper meaning behind it, and therefore, even if we may think that the reason doesn't apply in a particular case, that doesn't absolve us from doing the mitzvah. And also, in addition, we're doing the mitzvah not because we understand the reason, we're doing the mitzvah because this is what HaKadosh Baruch Hu told us to do. Okay?
That's a good point, which actually fits in with the basis of my question, which is, what's the difference? If you want to tell me something about a chok and something about a mishpat, and I can answer you and say it's true for both of them, then you haven't told me anything. So I have two explanations that qualify according to that requirement. One is that a mishpat is a rule or a law that people would come up with on their own if the Torah didn't say it.
Right.
Whereas a chok, people would not come up with it on their own.
Okay.
The second one I learned actually yesterday in another shir, where the rabbi said, the thing that distinguishes, in particular, the paraduma is that it's not just that we don't understand everything about it, it's that parts of it are illogical.
That's what I mentioned yesterday as well. It defies logic. Rashi is going to mention later that the fact that, or actually my main thing is that it's matayas hatmeim or matames hatahirim, right? So it purifies those who are impure, yet those who are pure, certain situations, become impure by coming in contact with the waters of the paraduma.
Right.
Right. Okay. Next, who are we up to?
5.
Meir, Pasuk Hey.
Okay. V'saraf et hapara le'einav et ora v'et b'sara v'et dama al yirsha yisrof. Okay, so he will burn the cow.
Now,
Le'einav, in front of his eyes, its skin, okay, or hide, I guess.
right, the hide.
Its flesh, its blood,
Right.
and pirsha. What's
It's
pirsha?
excrement.
Oh, excrement. He shall
With its
burn.
excrement, he shall burn it.
So the entire animal, then,
Right.
it's saying. Okay. Okay, there's no Rashi on this. Okay, Vav. V'lakach hakohen eitz erez ve'ezov u'shni tolaat v'hishlich el toch sreifat hapara. Okay, so the Kohen shall take eitz erez.
piece of cedar wood.
Oh, cedar wood, okay, and hyssop, and what, a thread?
Right, Shnei toras of a scarlet colored thread.
The scarlet colored thread, and throw them into the burning cow, or the burning of the cow, I guess.
Right, the conflagration.
Conflagration, wow, big word. Okay, very good.
1 second.
I don't think there's any
The fire
Rashi.
of the burning cow.
The fire of the burning cow. Okay.
That.
Zion, Vikibes, Bigadav HaKohen, Virachatz Bisaro Bamayim, Barchar Yavo El Machaneh, Vitameh HaKohen Ad Ha'arev. Okay, so the Kohen washes his clothes, virachatz, and washes his skin, I guess, in water, and
Flesh in water.
his flesh. Okay, and after words, he will come to the camp.
He may enter the camp.
Oh, he may enter the camp, and the Kohen is impure until the evening.
Right.
Okay.
Now, Rashi is going to point out that this phrase, "His Kohen remains impure in the evening," should come before. Once he's pure, and once he's thing, means afterwards, means he remains impure till the evening. After the evening, once it's become evening, he may enter the camp.
Oh, okay. So let's see, the Rashi, El Hamachaneh, into the camp, Lamachaneh Shekhinah, into the camp of the Shekhinah, She'ein Tameh Mishulach Chutz Lishtei Machanot.
No Tomei, somebody who's impure, is not sent out of the camp beyond 2 camps. Who is sent out of 2 camps? Only a Zov, Ubal Keri, Umetzora. Only somebody who's a Zov, which means somebody had a impure emission.
Okay.
It can be Zov, which is kind of a, the Gemara says it's a kind of a release of a liquid, which is not, it's not semen. It's some kind of sickness. It's a kind of an emission of a certain kind of liquid. That's a Zov. Valkyrie is somebody has a release of semen, whether intentionally or unintentionally. And right, that's they're sent out of 2 camps, Zov and Valkyrie. And you got Metzora as well, not only sent out of 2 camps, he's sent out of 3 camps. He's got to be going outside all 3 camps. But somebody who's Tomei Mace, which means he came into contact with a Tomei, with a
Body.
corpse or something like that, or any other form of Tomei, he's only not permitted to come into the Machaneh Shechina. So even somebody's Noga B'Sheretz or Nevela, somebody touches a carcass or a dead rodent or something like that, then he must not, he's not allowed to go into the Machaneh Shechina, into the Beis HaMikdash, but he may go into the Machaneh Leviah, which is the 2nd level, which we said in the time of the Beis HaMikdash was Har HaBayis. He may go to the Har HaBayis, but he's not allowed to enter the Azara.
Okay, so I can't enter the Azara. Okay. Next Rashi, V'tamei HaKohen Ad Ha'arev. So the Kohen stays impure until the evening. Sorasehu
V'darshehu.
Vidorshehu. That's what you just said.
The best way of translating Sarsehu.
What, it
Invert.
reverses the wording?
Yeah, you have to invert the wording.
Invert it, okay. And explain.
Reorganize the order of the wording of the verse and thus expound it.
Okay, Vitamei ad ha'arev. Okay, and he will be impure until the evening. V'achar yavo el hamachaneh.
Right. No, Rashi's saying you have to rephrase the passage. The Kohen shall launder his clothes, and bathe himself in the mikveh water, in ritual water. The Tomei HaKohen ad ha'arev, and the Kohen shall remain Tomei till the evening. After that, he may enter the camp. Understand the last phrase precedes the one before the last.
Right.
Okay. Yeah. Lou, Pasuk Ches. Hello.
Vaha soref osa yichabes bigadav b'mayim v'rachatz basaro b'mayim v'tamei ad ha'arev. So the one who burns it shall immerse his clothing in water, and
again, in the water means in ritual water, which is a mikveh. It doesn't say b'mayim, but b'mayim. This passage as well. In the water.
In the water, and wash his flesh in the water, and he'll be tamei until the evening.
Right.
No
Rashi on that. But also next passage.
Ish tahor ace efer hapara v'hi niach michutz l'machaneh b'makom tahor v'haisa la'adas b'nei Yisrael l'mish meres l'mei nida chatas he. So and a man who is pure shall gather the ashes of the cow and place it outside of the camp in a pure place, and it shall be for the assembly
Community
of the children. What?
I would rather translate it. La'adas means for the community of the Bnei Israel. I tell you why. The term Adar refers to a group which are not necessarily physically gathered together. They are a group by virtue of the fact that they want to be together, meaning they want to live with each other, they want to have a communal facilities, etc. But they're not actually necessarily right now gathered together. They're not assembled. So when you talk about the assembly, it implies that they are gathered together. For congregation also implies that they gather together. That's why I prefer to translate it as the community. Das B'nai Yisrael shall be for the community of the B'nai Yisrael.
The mishmeret for safekeeping. Lemay nida, for the water of sprinkling. Chatas he. It is a purifier.
Right.
All right, so that's 9. Rashi says, the hiniach michutz l'makaneh, place it outside the camp. Lish losha halakim michalka.
Mitchalekes.
Oh, really?
I
Mitchalekes?
have it, I believe it's a different word than you have.
Yeah, I have michalka.
Okay. Machalka, right, the Shlosha Chalokim. He divides it into 3 portions.
Divided into
3
3 parts. Echad nasan bahar ha-mishcha. One he will put on the mount of oil.
Well, which means the Mount of Olives, right?
Right.
That's where the process was done. That's what it says. "V'hiniach michutz lamachaneh." That's what's referring to over here. Where's outside the camp of Makam Torah? This is where the actual burning process of the Parah Adumah was done. Okay,
On the Mount of Olives.
on the Mount of Olives.
Ve'echad nischalek l'chol ha-mishmaros. And one part was divided among all of the watches.
Yeah, which means that the ashes of the Parah Adumah mixed together with the special water was divided, was sent out all over Eretz Yisrael. Because otherwise, anybody who was Tomei would have to come to Yerushalayim to be able to purify himself, which is a major trouble. So what they did was they divided it out to be given out in the various cities of Eretz Yisrael, that anybody who became impure could come to that purification point and go to the Kohen there, and the Kohen would sprinkle him on 3rd and 7th day.
I see.
I
Okay.
guess you'd have to book an appointment with Kupat Cholim, to have it done, I guess, kind of thing. I mean, I'm not saying that's the Kupat Cholim, but I'm saying, Kohen would be certain times a day. He says, he's in residence to do the sprinkling process for you. The truth is, I don't think you needed a Kohen to do it. No, you didn't need a Kohen. Anybody could do it.
The echad nosein the chayil. One part you put in the chayil.
It's called you have the word chayil there. I have it punctuated chayil. The chayil was an area around the walls of the Azara, which basically had the kedusha of Harabayis, but it was a certain place. It was behind a fence. 11 amma, an area of 11 ammas around the walls of the Beis Hamikdash of the Azara was an area called the Chayil, which took up 11 ammas all the way around, and there was like a perimeter fence around it.
Is that the one that had the breaks in it, or that was inside?
Yes, correct. That soireg, right? That fence, perimeter fence, had the one which had 13 openings.
Right. Zeh shel mishmaros. This is the one of the watches, the part of the for the watches. Haya chutz la'azara. It was outside the courtyard.
Just a slight correction over here. It says echad mischal chol mishmaros ve'echad nasam b'chel. There's one was placed in this area around the chayil area around the wall, somewhere there. Now Rashi, go back. Zeh shel mishmaros, which is the second one, which is one which was divided up among all mishmaros. Zeh mishmaros hayachutz la'azara, little mimenu b'nei ha'yoros, v'chol hatzrichim li'torah. Okay, the one which was divided out to the different groups, that's mishmaros, were 24 mishmaros kahuna, which means there were basically 24 groups who used to come twice. There were on average 48 weeks a year where the Kohanim were divided up to each week one group of Kohanim would come to serve. And they worked out that each mishmar came twice a year. Because there were 48, and the extra, depending, it's extra 2 weeks were for the Yom Tovim, where all the Kohanim participated. So on average, there's 50 weeks a year, just a little bit more than that. And in leap years, even more than that. But okay, on average. The one which was divided among the different groups, which was given out to all over Eretz Yisrael, that was placed, the main collection point of that third of the Parah, of the ashes of the Parah Aduma, that was outside the Azara, in order litlo mimenu b'nei hayoros, the people from outside, the people surrounding, not surrounding, from the people of the towns all over Israel, they could take the ashes from there and make it into mei chatos and use it for purifying people all over Eretz Yisrael. Okay, v'chol hatzrichim li'torah, and anybody else who needed to become Torah. Okay, then Rashi continues. V'zeh shebahar hamishcha.
And this was on the Mount of Olives.
The one which was on the Mount of Olives, that third which was on the Mount of Olives, what was it used for? Kohanim gedolim leparas acheres mekadshim hemenu. In other words, every time you had a new parah aduma, they would take part of the old ashes and add it to the new ashes. It was like a, how you call it, a startup pack. You took some of the old ashes from the old parah aduma and you added it to the ashes of the new parah aduma, and thereby that was the way it got the kedusha of being a parah aduma. Okay, that was the second group. The zeh shebechel, the one which is in the chel, which is in the area around the wall of the Azara, nosun lemishmeres, was put there for safekeeping. Nothing was done with it. It was there, kept there for safekeeping. Migzeres HaKosuv. Okay? Shnema, as it says, this is what Pasuk says. It should be for the community of the Bnei Yisrael as for safekeeping. So I tell you, I just want to explain what Rashi's gone about over here. You've got three, basically, three purposes, or shall we say, there's three things to be done with the ashes of the parah mentioned in the pasuk. First one, it says, to put it outside the camp in a mokum tov. That's one purpose. Then it says, that's the second purpose. And also, it's for sprinkling water, it is a purifier. Okay, so you've got three purposes mentioned over here. Outside the camp, the mokum tov, in a pure place. And then, that which is inside the Azora, or inside the Har HaBayis, it should be lemishmeres, safekeeping. And number three, lemeinido, is for sprinkling water. So that's what Rashi says. That's where Rashi gets it from, that they were divided into three parts. Okay?
Yep.
Yeah, are you still with me? Hello?
I'm still with you.
Yeah, we're here.
Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, yeah. I just have the text open, that's why I don't also see. Yeah, now let's next Rashi. Lemei nido.
The water of sprinkling. Lemei hazaya, water of sprinkling.
Right. Now, why Rashi's mentioning it is Rashi's saying that this word nidor, is not to be mixed up with the other word nidor, which refers to a woman who's impure during her menstruation period. That's what Rashi says. The word nidor here has not the same meaning as the word nidor with reference to such a woman. Okay?
Right.
There, nidor over there, the nun is part of the root, and it means something to do like Russian nidui. She's excommunicated to a certain extent, means because she can't come in contact with her husband and also anybody else who doesn't want to become impure. She's impure, and anybody who touches her becomes impure. But here Rashi says the word nidor doesn't come for that. Rashi says the mei hazoya, for sprinkling water. Okay, kamoi.
It is like Vayadu Evan B. He threw a stone at me.
Right. They threw a stone. I think it is. Right.
Liados es karnos hagoyim. To cast away the horns
Of the nations.
Lashon zarika. It's an expression of throwing.
Right. Cast. Chatosi. Okay.
Chatas he. It is a purifier. Lashon chitui. It is an expression of purifying.
Kipshuta, like it's straightforward meaning. So Rashi says chatos again here. The word chatos here doesn't mean it's a sin offering, but chatos here means it's a purifier. It does the Russian chitui. It comes to cleanse and purify. Okay, and then Rashi says ulafihu chaysav, and according to its rules, its halachic rules, kara hakasuv chatos. Torah called it a chatos, loima to tell us shehi kekodshim le'osabano. It's got a din like a korban, that it's osabano, a regular person not allowed to have any benefit from it, even from the ashes. It's got to be purely designated for purification. It cannot be used for anything else. That's why the Torah describes it as a chatos. Why dafka chatos? I'm not sure. Could be it's a play on the words. Literally means its purpose is to be a cleanser, to cleanse a person of his impurity. But it also refers to chatos. It uses the term used as a korban to tell you that it's got a din of a korban and then it's osabana. Okay.
Thank you, Rabbi.
We'll adjourn here. Very good.
Okay, have a good day.